I'm Bradley Hauer from the University of Alberta in Canada, and today I will be presenting my work with my supervisor, Dr. Greg Kondrak, on the universality of lexical concepts. Our work falls under the heading of lexical semantics. This is the area of natural language processing research that deals with the linguistic study of word meaning. Our principal concern that motivated this research is the increasing focus on engineering versus science in the field. We believe that there is a need for a theory-driven understanding of the phenomena that are involved in lexical semantics research: concepts, senses, synonymy, translation, and so forth. We believe that there is a very severe need for clearly stated assumptions and inferences about these phenomena so that we can have a solid theoretical framework upon which further research can take place. Ultimately, we need to understand the phenomena we are working with in order to explain our results and be able to make predictions about what will work well in the future. The key phenomena we are interested in are words, concepts, senses, synonymy, and translation. The first three of those concepts, words, concepts, and senses, are illustrated on this slide. So you see at the top here we have columns corresponding to words: earth, ground, reason, and so on, and we have some words in English and some in Italian. Each row corresponds to a specific lexicalized concept. Those are indicated by WordNet synset identifiers here, indicating the various concepts that each of these words might express. And so each cell corresponds to a specific sense of a word. So we're using the WordNet sense number notation here, but there are various different ways of denoting senses. So earth N1 is indicating that this is the word earth used in a nominal sense, a noun sense, and this is the first such sense, and then we have the second such sense, then we have senses 2 and 3 of ground, and so on. So this is just illustrating how words and concepts interact in order to give us inventories of senses for each of the words in each language. And we're seeing here how these concepts can potentially cross languages. So you can have distinctions that are made in one language, for example, but not in another. So we now come to the other phenomena of interest, synonymy and translation. Now you can see here in the example sentence, which is of course written in English, within a language we can look at lexical substitution. So we can look at replacing this focus word, heart, within the sentence. You haven't got the heart for baseball. We can replace heart with nerve or metal, and that will not change the essential meaning of the sentence. So you haven't got the nerve for baseball means the same thing as you haven't got the heart for baseball. And so making this substitution does not change the meaning of the word. These words are interchangeable in the context of this sentence. So we say that they are synonymous. And this can be used to derive those WordNet synsets that were alluded to on the previous slide. So here again, we have a WordNet synset identifier, this long sequence of numbers ending with an N, indicating that this is the noun part of speech. And we can see those three words sharing a synset due to the fact that they are interchangeable in some context. They are synonyms in some context, and so they share a synonym set. And then likewise, as was shown on the previous slide, this also induces senses for those words. So collectively, we can take all these synsets that are induced by various different contexts together and induce sense inventories for all the different senses. Now, moving from the actions within a language to operations across languages, below the example here, we have some words in French and Polish that could be used as contextual translations for heart. So heart, if we were to translate this sentence into French, for example, we could use one of these two French words that we have in red. And if we wanted to translate into Polish, we could use one of the words on the bottom row that are in green. And so just as within a language, synonymy allows us to derive synsets across languages, translation allows us to derive multilingual synsets or multi-synsets. And you can see this multi-synset here has a BabelNet synset identifier, BabelNet being a multilingual extension of BabelNet. So, what is the purpose of this? Why are we interested in these phenomena? Well, various methods of constructing word nets and multi-word nets and sense inventories have been proposed in the literature of lexical semantics. And so we are interested in what are the minimal essential properties of a multi-word net that are necessary for sense inventory construction. What properties do these synsets and multi-synsets and word nets and multi-word nets need to have to allow us to derive a coherent and useful sense inventory for the words within the language or the languages covered by the multi-word net? So in our abstract, we enumerate 5 basic synset properties, a theoretical foundation for monolingual word nets. And then we show how those can be extended to the multilingual case by establishing that multi-synsets must also have all the properties of synsets and enable the enumeration of the translations of specific senses of words. So this isn't just akin to a bilingual dictionary where we can get the translations at a word level, for example, where we can get all the French words that might translate an English word, but multi-synsets must further enable us to seek the translations of a specific sense of a word, so the sense of a word in a particular context. Now, why do these multi-word nets work well? And the reason for that simply is that multi-word nets have proven very useful as sources of semantic knowledge because they are grounded in real intuitive phenomena. So we have seen over the past many years state-of-the-art results that are increasingly obtained using these kinds of resources. And again, we postulate that that is because these resources are grounded in these phenomena that we discussed: senses, synonymy, translation, and so on. Now, the frequent point of criticism of this model of constructing sense inventories is their granularity. Now, we admit that the granularity of word nets and multi-word nets can be inconvenient. However, in our work, we argue that it is necessary to have this level of granularity in order to maintain semantic equivalence within multilingual synsets, because translation can, and very often does, depend on very subtle distinctions of meaning. And so we come to the crux of this abstract that we're presenting, which is that these phenomena and the relations between them are universal. So we have the concept of fruit, represented by these words here in English, French, Polish, and Chinese. And we have apple and banana, we have those concepts as well. And not only do those concepts still exist, no matter which language we are speaking, not only are those concepts universal, there must exist a one-to-one mapping between the English synset for apple and the French synset and the Polish synset and the Chinese synset. So if we were to build word nets according to the model that we've proposed, following those basic assumptions, satisfying those basic assumptions rather, then there would be a one-to-one correspondence between those synsets and the relations between them. For example, the is-a relation, the relation of fruit and, or rather apple and banana being hyponyms of fruit, would be persistent across languages as well. So this has some very fascinating implications. Multi-word nets are modular as we can add more specific concepts not lexicalized in other languages as hyponyms of concepts already represented. We can expand multilingual word nets, and that does not necessarily create a structural bias toward English, as lexicalized concepts and their structure are language independent. Multi-word nets build upon the model that has already been proven useful in NLP, and we believe that with better understanding of this model, we can potentially improve further. Thank you very much for watching our presentation. If you'd like to discuss our work with us, you can send us an email at the address shown on the screen. Thank you.